This is a $20 iWatch I found on everyone's favorite website, wish.com. And in today's wonderful video, we're going to go through and figure out just how much of a scam this actually is. And honestly, I know there is no way that this can actually be an iWatch, but we're going to buy it anyway. Now here's at least what I'm hoping for. On the very best possibilities, we get an iWatch fake that is really well done, and I can actually pair it with my iPhone that it says it should pair with. And let's see what happens when we actually buy this. Let's go through a couple things first. Product name, W34 Smartwatch 4th generation, which if I were to take a guess, does not come up with anything. Wow. Okay. Then if we were to go through and remote camera compatible, okay, blah blah blah. If we were to go through, it weighs okay. It's okay. It's got pretty much all the iPhone or iWatch features on it. We get a charging cable, instructions, and a smartwatch generation 4, which, even though it's named Watch 5, some of these watch faces definitely make me think like this is not Apple approved. I also don't think they have the permission to use. Well, those are some different icons. I was gonna say some of these watch faces though, I don't think they have permission from Apple to use. And some of these images are definitely promotional, so it will be very interesting to see what actually shows up in the mail. And that looks like something different as well. Okay, so $20. Let's see what $20 gets you when you order an iWatch. Let's see. So the Apple Watch has arrived. Let's get started with just showing you what this is. So we got, looks like almost something very similar to what you get with the Apple Watch, only a couple key differences. First off, it says smartwatch, not Apple Watch, even though this was highly misleading. I will say though, if I can take this off, see if I can get this off. Oh, it just moved too. It's weird. It looks like the picture on, yeah, it's moving. Okay. But no, it looks like the picture on the front of the box is the same. So what are we actually gonna get? If it looks like that, I'm gonna be impressed. Oh wow. Wow, I'm actually impressed. Okay. Does it turn on? It was moving. I would assume it would turn on. Okay. It looks like it needs to charge. So I'm going to let this thing charge, and we'll get back to you. So over here on my laptop, I got pulled up the ad itself. And I just want to go through some of the claims that are on here as we actually look at the product, because I figure at least we can see what this looks like in comparison to what we actually have. Now, I do have to say though, for a fake and for $24, the backside here is actually relatively accurate. It definitely, while appearing to be clearly fake, it's a relatively good fake. That being said though, a couple things that I've already tried messing with is trying to pair it with my phone, which doesn't work. If I were to open this up, the clock faces, as we actually do have one of them. It does have a step counter on there, which does not work. It has some very interesting features, but for the most part, the watch itself appears to at least give the impression of working. Now, if I were to connect this to my phone, which we'll do later on, you'll see that a lot of the features that it advertises are not actually what you get. So for example, if we were to keep on going down here, it has GPS motion data. I find it hard to understand if you can't even connect this properly to your phone, how it gets GPS data. And if it does, where is that GPS data going? Because for a matter of fact, this simply is not just going to take your data in this day and age and do nothing with it. It's going to be sold somewhere. That's the reality of it. So a couple other things that it has is it's advertising incoming features, and especially since it's advertising on an iPhone, I'll be very interested to see what actually works on this when we try this out. So electrocardiogram, or ECG. Now I am not a doctor. Well, someday I may be a doctor in computer engineering. That's what I'm at least working on. I'm not a medical doctor, and therefore
I'm not an expert when I'm going to talk about here, but I'm going to make some assumptions. So when I put this on my wrist, and I go to the ECG feature, if I get this correctly, if I go to that feature and I put this on my wrist, now I want to point out the fact that if I just touch it with anything conductive, as you can see, it's going to say that I have an ECG. I'm not actually touching the back here. It says I have a heart rate of 82 beats per minute. I'm not touching the back. Now, the other thing is this little rate that we're given is, this little picture that we have here does not look accurate, especially for the fact that I'm not actually touching the back here. So the heart rate is changing and it has no touch on me. Like I'm touching the rubber here, which as electrical engineer, I can say that that's not going to do anything. So for a matter of fact that this heart rate jumps all over the place, I have some very serious concerns about someone that takes this and buys this and expects to get accurate results out of this, especially for $20. So continuing on the list of stuff that we can check immediately before I plug my virus-prone phone into this, then we've also got a music player, a calendar, which we have an actual surprising calendar. This reminds me a lot of the iPod Nanos, because I used to have one, and those were really good at keeping track of all this stuff. They were almost, I would say, the precursor to the Apple Watch. One of the first things you do when you click and open this is it says 12 p.m. lunch with Ken. Now, I'm a little curious on if that's just the clock face. Oh, I can change the clock face. What clock faces do we have? Oh, we have some nice ones. Okay. So we can actually change the clock face. Relatively impressed there. That's impressive. Well, I think I'll pick, there's not many, and that's kind of sad, but does it actually work is the question. So it actually works. The clock face actually works. Now, notice another thing as well, is that the step counter, if I were to, I don't know if this is going to work or not. How would we judge steps, guys? Let's shake this, like we're normally running or something, and notice that the step counter doesn't go up. Now, I actually sat with this and I did this for a day, sat down with this and for a day, and the steps didn't change. So for sadly, I think it pulls information from your phone, but then again, the phone isn't connected currently, so that's kind of breaking one of the features already. And we have the ability to see messages. So let's put in our phone. So it says it's connected. It says it's connected for me at least. So that being said, do I click on this? And currently not supported. So let me ask that question. So if I click on the messages, it says currently not support. Yet we have features on here that clearly says that I can use messages. So the other thing I want to see is, can I go through and see if some of these other features are advertised? So if I were to look at the step counter, does that work? Does that do anything? No. If I were to click on Bluetooth, it's connected, my phone. If I were to click on the running thing, it's still not going to say nothing no matter how much I shake this. Does the wake up gesture work? Oh yes, it might. But no. So it's so interesting that all these features that they've advertised don't actually work. So I want to point out a couple things. First off, we've tested this with my phone. We know that the main features of this don't actually work. But I want to also draw attention to the heart rate feature. So if we were to say, I don't know what, I'm going to say heart rate feature for the simple fact that I don't know if it's an ECG. It doesn't give any well, even that's what it's trying to intend or allude to. It's not actually accurate. So there's a little feature here called the heart rate feature. Now you're going to see, I'm going to click start, and this thing is telepathic, if that's the right word, but it's going to start reading my heart rate from here without touching me. So I'm going to find that very interesting in the fact that it can, yeah, it's magical. It's just insane. Such new technology that Apple should surely adopt. A couple other things I want to talk about, going back to this Wish ad, is that it advertises itself as being GPS available, which means that my location currently is tracked and it is getting sent off to some kind of server. I'd be willing to bet information. There's no way that they made $24 off this and this was actually a good idea. And here's the best part. Here's the last one that we're going to test right now. This product advertises being i6 waterproof. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the IPX6 or IPX ratings, they're basically certain ratings that a company puts out basing products on how waterproof they are. The IP6 rating, which is not the i6 rating, has just pretty much standard, like you can splash it under the water. IP7 is a little better, IP8, IPX8, all that stuff are different ratings, and they pretty much all say that under certain conditions, you can put the water, run it underwater, it's not really going to get damaged. This, however, says that the i6 rating allows this device to go 50 meters underwater. Now, I'm going to say this right now. 50 meters underwater is equivalent to 5 atmospheres, at least what it's advertising on here. So 5 atmospheres of water on this device that doesn't even have a seal around the charging port has some serious concerns. I also want to read you directly what they've actually said, because we're going to test this, what they've actually said in their ad. So it can quickly connect to GPS satellites, which means my location is absolutely screwed. It can speed and pace and test like cycling and stuff. We already figured out that was fake. It can't judge any movement whatsoever. The step feature doesn't do anything. And mind you, it's still taking my heart rate. And then the i6 Bluetooth smartwatch is designed to withstand the pressure equivalent of pressure underwater at 164 feet or 5 atmospheres, which means it is suitable for rain, oil spills, do I mind you oil spills? Like, why is it in there? Showers, pools, and oceans in shallow water depths. So 5 atmospheres, I will be willing to bet is, actually 5 atmospheres is past the certification that I'm working on for my scuba diving, and that's shallow water depths. I'm working on like to 30 meters is about as far down as I can go in my scuba diving. And this is shallow water depths. That 50 meters is not, underwater is not shallow water depths, in my personal opinion. You can judge me there. It's eternal. Here's where the BS just starts flowing. I don't even know what this says. So its internal speakers use their own vibrations and force the water to drain once it has no waves. So can we just take a moment to talk about this? This doesn't have speakers. I haven't got anything to play out of it. There's absolutely no way for the speakers to go anywhere. My other question is, uses its own vibrations and force the water to drain. So, I mean, that would be great technology, using the speakers to vibrate and push the water, but what does it mean when there's no waves? When there's no waves, it means that, like, the phone's not moving underwater, or the watch isn't moving underwater? What does that mean? So, I'm going to run this under the faucet. If I have an Apple Watch at the end of this, then we will, of course, be doing a great job. I'd be willing to bet, though, it's not. So let me go run over to the faucet. We'll go put it underneath the faucet, and we'll see really what we're actually looking at here. Now, my guess, as I said, it's not going to work. Let's find out.
So now it's time to go through and put it underneath the faucet. And good news, this video is some of the best videography you have ever seen in your life, because I'm doing this with one hand and actually the camera's in the other. So first off, we start off with a standard wash test. We just put it on there and see how that was my expectations. So my expectations were a little bit, improved now. And as you can see, it's already starting to mess up a little bit, and it's not off yet. Don't worry about it. But it definitely is starting to do some weird things. As you can see, the water's looking pretty nice on it. So yeah, we just gotta run it under the water a little bit. Make sure we get that USB charging area right underneath that faucet. And just make sure that we get full contact and check to make sure it's still working. I was actually kind of afraid of getting like electrocuted or something just from like the battery or something up with the battery. This thing is probably not well built, so that's why I was a little concerned there. And then as you can see, it's starting to mess up, and I don't even know what it's doing. So next up, it's time for the submerge test. And the submerge test is where I put this sucker underneath the water, and here's where it meets its final end. So as you can see, it's not having a fun time already. It's doing some flickering things. It's flipping back and forth. And it's going to turn off. And it's going to be the end of it. That's what it's about to. Yep. And then there it's off. And that sucker is not coming back on. I honestly think what happened here was the sleep thing turned on. And then it just kind of died. Yeah, so I'm just going to let the, as you see, I'll fill it all the way up. Fully submerged, which, do I mind you, this is less than an inch of water, not 5 atmospheres worth. And then we just let it go through, and see if, I'm going to push it now to see if it even turns on. So I'll just take my fingers and push the battery or the button on the side to activate it. And as you see, nothing will happen. And then that will kind of conclude our little testing of what actually happens when you try to waterproof test a freaking cheap phone, a cheap iPhone or iWatch. So let's jump back and see what the results are.
Oh man, what a surprise. Our poor little Apple Watch here doesn't appear to be working. Let me turn on my camera first. Like I was expecting otherwise. So, what did we learn from today's video? Well, first off, as usual, don't buy stupid stuff on the internet. Second of all, if it's advertised as a certain waterproof rating, it's probably, and it's a fake product for 24 bucks. Most features don't work, and it's waterproof when it's not. It can pretty much kill you if you don't know what you're looking at and you expect this to actually give you accurate heart rate readings. Oh yeah, and a quick side note, unrelated to YouTube and stuff. All y'all that are watching these videos, by the way, I just want to let y'all know, I really hope that you're all doing well. If you need anything, please comment down below and I'll do my best to kind of respond if it's anything really urgent, if I can help you with anything. That'd be really great. Obviously, I can't just like buy people computers. I wish I could, but I can't. But anything small, maybe I can help you guys with. Please put that down in the comments and I'll see what I can do. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and everyone please stay safe. I know a lot of people there's a lot of stuff going on, but I know if you're feeling down and stuff too, I'm a little down as well. So I hope that everyone, sincerely, if you need anything, you want to play some games, something like that, put that down in the comments. We can see what we can do. But yeah, if you need anything, contact me. And I guess just know that you're not alone. So yeah, have a good day.